Are the New York Giants in line to be the NFL's most improved team, or are they just a trendy pick?
Probably trendy. Probably what I just say. Probably trendy right now. A lot of
Yeah,
people saying it.
yeah. There's definitely a lot of hype that's starting to get behind them, and so let's look into that. So we're back here with another NFC East team with the Giants. So we're going to look at how they're doing, and then I guess cover the Commanders after that, and then shift over to another division. So we've already looked at the Cowboys. We've already looked at the Eagles. I think two of the teams that
So
have expectations.
yeah.
So now we're looking at the Giants. So obviously last year is not their greatest year. In fact, a lot of the recent years haven't been there.
I mean, they really started Russell Wilson for the first few games, and he wasn't that bad, but he just there's definitely a way to go out for him. It's kind of sad that now he's gone, but that's not the point. But I feel like maybe if they gave Dart the games to start, maybe it would have been a different story. Maybe they got a few more wins. But either way, really, they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, last year I don't think that was ever a real possibility.
And with them getting rid of Dable, it was definitely an interesting season.
Well, yeah, but I think they kind of had to move forward. But they had, I think there's positives to take away from last year. I think
Yeah.
with Dart, with Scattaboo, with Neighbors, there's definitely young players that are exciting to see there with them. So I think the biggest thing is just at the top, bringing in, John Harbaugh. So do you think that that is what they needed to do to start going in the right direction?
Honestly, it's been a minute since we were looking at the head coaches, and we didn't make a video on it because we weren't around then. But it's been a while. But honestly, I wouldn't have picked Harbaugh as the best choice. It's just it's an interesting thing getting Harbaugh. He spent so much time with Baltimore, and obviously New York is building up, and the Ravens were like in a win now kind of thing. They had the talent there, they just couldn't get it done. But transferring from a good team to New York, and they're just like I don't want to say they're bad, but they're trying to build something. They're not quite there. So it's a big change for him, I'd say. And I don't know what we would expect from him.
It's definitely a different position that he's in. So I think when we were in that point in the off season where teams had let their head coaches go and were in search of new head coaches, that John Harbaugh was by far the best option out there.
Yeah.
Um, and because of that, I think the Giants won when it came to that. There were other teams like
I feel like Clint Kubiak was definitely a good choice though.
I think he has the potential, but it's not proven as a head coach yet. So
See,
maybe he has the highest ceiling, but John Harbaugh has a more proven track
you're
record.
just saying that because you
Uh,
want Kubiak.
but I think the Browns, that would have been nice to see him on the Browns. I would have liked to have seen him on the Cardinals. So I think the Giants, that was a big win to get him. He's a guy who knows how to win. If you look at the last decade, the Giants have barely seen the playoffs at all, whereas the Ravens are perennial contenders. So I think
Yeah.
that's the first thing is getting a guy who knows how to win, who knows how to put a team together and lead them to consistently win is the first step. And I think they have that. And so I think that that's something, and that's why I think a lot of people are getting behind the team because they're thinking, oh, that first domino is in place. And I think they're right. A lot of what we look at these days is offense, right?
Yeah.
And so, with quarterback, with what we saw from Dart last year, is this a young guy that's got the skill and the ability and the leadership that can guide a team forward? Do you believe in him from what you saw?
I do honestly. He's probably the best quarterback last year, and I would say that's based off he had the most time to really shine, other than Cam Ward. But Cam Ward really didn't have any place to go. He was just kind of forced into that. When you're the number one overall pick, you're on the worst team. So he definitely showed that he had some trouble. But Dart, he didn't have much time, but he did have more than Shuck. and Sanders. And while I don't think he outplayed Shuck, Dart was there and he was just as good.
Did he get more time than Shuck?
Yeah, Shuck started like around week 7 or something like that. He didn't get many starts because they had Spencer Rattler starting in New Orleans. Um, but with Dart, I think he'll take the step up. The big thing though is if Harbaugh can discipline him to stop taking these like risky plays, like when he tries to run for a first down. You don't want to like lower yourself like he does. He's just
Yeah, there's
yeah,
definitely some room for growth and maturity and when you're the quarterback, you have so much that your team is depending on you. Like you want to win, you want to make the most of every play, but is that extra yard or two worth the rest of the game, the next few weeks, the rest of the season?
the
And
the
that's
rest of your
where
career.
yeah, and that's where you're right that he needs to rein that in a degree, and I think Harbaugh's going to help out with that. So if the two of them can be on the same page, that's going to be a big thing. I think the other thing that's exciting about the Giants is how many weapons he has around him as well. So when you
It's definitely taken a hit when he took out Robinson, but they definitely tried to replace him as best as they could. I mean,
hmm
not getting some of these guys like Diggs or Hopkins is like it's something a little bit of oversight, but they're definitely trying. Just
I mean,
if it can, it's good on paper, but if that can translate to like live game, that's way better. Because you see these names and they're like, oh my gosh, you're so good, and they don't live up to expectations, and I think that's what we could say.
yeah, I think I mean I don't think that Hopkins should be on anyone's list anymore. I don't think he's gonna be a guy that's a difference maker at this point. Go back a decade, yeah, he was one of the best in the league. Diggs, go back 5 years, yeah, but I don't think either of them are gonna be that same level. I think the Giants actually have good wide receivers here.
It's
Neighbors,
definitely frontline by name.
so yeah, oh yeah, Neighbors could be the best in the whole league.
Oh, that's
Slayton,
crazy.
I think Slayton is good. I think Austin has some potential. I think Smith Juicer's a good fourth or fifth guy.
They're suspected to actually release Schuster.
Maybe they will. Malachi Fields, they drafted him. I think he could be a guy that they can use. And then not even wide receivers, but you have Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
I think that
That is an underrated pickup because with tight ends moving, you don't hear about it as much as receivers, running backs, or quarterbacks, or like edges or anything. But they make fireworks when they're out there. Like without like Brock Bowers or Trey McBride, what would the Raiders or Cardinals be? So it's definitely an underrated position, and Isaiah Likely is definitely an underrated tight end. He had some good time with Baltimore, and he's moving with Harbaugh. I guess he liked the guy. But he's definitely going to get some catches in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Harbaugh knows him. Last year, and he was sharing time with Mark Andrews, so now he
Yeah.
gets to be the main guy here, so that's good.
I do
Um,
believe they also have Theo Johnson. Do they?
they do, yeah,
Yeah. He was pretty decent from what I saw.
yeah, and then even then, running backs. I
They
think
they definitely have an interesting running back room with Cam Scatterbill and Tyron Tracy. Tyron Tracy is such an underrated running back because he's so young, and it's surprising to me that they didn't give him any time to really rush. They just went, let's take Scatterbill. So yeah, Scatterbill's good, but I feel like Tracy's got a very high ceiling that he could achieve, and there's not really letting him shine with making him the backup. Maybe it's what he needs, but I really think that he'd be better in a different system.
they have the potential to be a good one-two punch. I think that having both of them sets them both up for success.
I feel like
I
I feel like Scat is more like a fullback.
I mean, he's definitely a guy that's going to run through a wall for you. So I think that, but I think they're both good to have, and I think then having Devin Singletary for depth behind them, you know, there's just a lot of players the Giants have here that I
Yeah.
think can contribute. And you look, they added to the offensive line.
Don't they have Odell?
Yeah, they do. For what that for however much you want to count that,
Maybe
you
he's gonna go back to prime OBJ.
turn back the clock. Yeah, I think that's yeah that
It won't happen, but
yeah
it's
that,
a nice thought.
but yeah, so we've got a lot of tools offensively. I think there's going to be some growing pains, with the new coach, new system, new culture. I think that there takes some time for that to align. So it may not be an immediate change, but I think that we're going to see the difference in how the Giants play. But yeah, so we talk about offense. How do you feel about their defense?
Their defense. Honestly, I don't know very many weapons on defense. With them getting rid of Lauren, it was kind of a major takeaway for me. Um, at least they got a pick for it, and I don't know who they took with that pick, but it's definitely a good pick. Didn't I think they got the out offensive guard?
Yeah, so I think that they actually have difference makers like all across the defense. I think that their defense is going to be solid. It may be even better than their offense. Just to throw out a few names, Brian Burns. I think he's a guy. I think well they just picked up Arvell Reese, with their first
Yeah,
pick. He can, we'll see what he can be, but there's a lot of potential. Abdul Carter, their first round pick, very high last year. Didn't have a ton of production last year, but if he can build off of that, that can be something. Um, they had a second round pick, a corner, Colton Holt. Maybe he comes in and helps with the secondary. Um, you know, uh, Kayvon Thibodeau,
yeah.
Deontay Banks. There's some different names they have there, that the defense I think can be solid
It'll
as
be interesting
well.
to see.
So it I see why there's the hype for the team. You get a new coach, you get young offensive players, you have playmakers on difference or on defense, I'm sorry. So there's a lot that they have turning them in the right direction. I think they're going to be one of the funnest teams to watch. They're
I think they
definitely
need a good kicker.
yeah, every team needs a good kicker. I don't know. Is it Ben Sauls? Is that who they're going with right now when I'm looking at their depth chart?
I think so. I know they don't have Young Hoku anymore.
Yeah, so I don't know if he wins it or if someone else steals it out of camp or how that goes. But a kicker is crucial in this day and age. Um, but what I was saying is I think they'll be a fun team to watch.
Yeah,
Win or lose, I think they're going to be competitive and that they're going to be pretty dynamic.
yeah.
Uh, so with what we've looked at here, if you had to predict what you see as the outcome for their season, wins and loss, playoffs or no playoffs, how do you see it shake out for
Uh, all right. I'm gonna say 6-11. I feel like they won't be bad, but they're gonna have some really bad losses, but they're gonna also gonna have maybe one or two upsets in there. They're just gonna be exciting to watch, like how they had that 34-17 game against Philly last year.
them? Hmm.
There's just gonna be a few games in there that like it builds the hype up for next year, because you know I like to think that they're gonna make the playoffs. I like to think that they'd win the division, but it's a young team. They still need to learn a lot. Going into their second year, Harbaugh coming in as the first
Hmm.
year head coach for the team, they're gonna have to get used to his system after learning the first one. And it's a lot, and usually with that you don't win a lot of games in the first year with that. And I think they're gonna get a few more like a few wins in there, but no like major fireworks.
Okay,
Maybe
all right.
maybe some exciting games, but I wouldn't expect like a lot
So
of win.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go more with an 8-9 record. I think with 17 games, you can't really say a team's 500 because they're either gonna be either a winning or losing season unless it's like 8-8 in a tie.
Yeah.
But so I think this is about as close as you can get to 500 without being a little better. I would not be surprised if they did squeak in as like the seventh seed. John Harbaugh knows how to win, so it all depends on how quickly they get it moving in the right
I'll
direction.
say the AFC East feels nearly locked in every single year, But the NFC, it feels like it changes all the time.
Yeah.
It like the AFC is like built off the same teams, but the like with those four big quarterbacks and a few teams that are always solid. But the NFC, it's like a ton of wild cards. Like of obviously the NFC East or the NFC West is always there, and there's the division winners. But most of the division winners, like last year with Carolina being 8-9 and winning the division and getting a home game, there's a lot you can do,
Hmm.
and I wouldn't be surprised if they made the playoffs. But it's a lot, with the NFC West always like
Yeah.
last year they took three spots and there was only one wild card left.
Yeah.
It
Like you said, the NFC East has been pretty much rotating every year, except for where the Eagles have won the last 2 years. I don't think it's going to be that comfortable from this year. I think they have both the Cowboys and the Giants coming for them.
I would
Uh,
I don't know why people you you just the Commanders are exciting team. They're trying to revamp that wide receiver room, QB, just a lot added, and we'll see. We'll
y-
see because that's our next preview.
yeah, our next preview is the Commanders and how they shake out with the rest of the division.
So be looking out
But
for
I
that
think,
one.
yeah, I think we've covered the Giants pretty well here.
Yeah,
So we'll wrap it up here then.
yeah. I think that's the right thing. So that's just the end of it, I guess.